Introduced her husband, Governor Mitt Romney, when Governor Romney spoke to the NRA convention today. But she didn't want to talk about guns. She wanted to continue a conversation about something else.
Women were being referred to as a special interest group. And I thought to myself, really only Washington could do that. There's only one part of that phrase that's correct. Women are special.
Romney campaign now even selling bumper stickers saying moms drive the economy. So is this political gimmickry or a real attempt by the Romney campaign to capture the women's vote? Joining me now, Kellyanne Conway, a Republican strategist and Gingrich campaign pollster, and Margie Omero, a Democratic pollster and president of Momentum Analysis. Margie, I want to ask you first, because there are a lot of Democrats who would say privately that there was a fight over the women's vote anyway and a conversation about the gender gap anyway. But then Hillary Rosen goes on television and says Ann Romney hasn't worked a day in her life. And there are a lot of Democrats who are cringing now. You've seen the reaction from the president's team and the president on down. A lot of Democrats cringing, saying big opportunity, big opening for the Romney campaign. Are they right?
Well, I'll say it publicly, it was a misstep. Ann Romney's very likable, and spouses are off limits. But I think it's a mistake to, well, first of all, there's going to be a million more of these issue of the day, outrage over a quote that's going to happen between now and November. And I think it's a mistake to see this about a war of words about women as opposed to a war on women when it comes to real policies. And when it comes to policies, Republicans have shown repeatedly that they're not on the side of women.
But, Kellyanne, if the Democrats have the advantage, and they do if you look at the polling, there's a huge gender gap right now. If they have an advantage on the policies at the moment, was this perhaps an opening? You have to have an opening to make up lost ground. Was this an opening to get there?
It was an opening, and Ann Romney did a magnificent job leveraging it without seeming overtly political. She was very affable, very accessible, and very ladylike, if I may, in her response. Very proud to stand up for, rather than play the victim, John, she went and waved the banner for all stay-at-home moms, who I respect enormously. But I think there's a broader issue here. This is what happens when the Democrats spend 2 months trying to claim that there is a war on women and basically only speaking to the lower half of women. They're always talking about reproductive rights and contraception and abortion. Where is that in the CNN polling? Is it the top issue, top 3, top 5, top 10, top 20? It's simply not. And so we Republicans want to speak to the whole woman. We want to speak to her heart, her mind, her body, her soul, all of her. And I think that when you pigeonhole women into, quote, women's issues that somehow exclude the economy, food prices, fuel prices, health care, education, then from Debbie Wasserman Schultz on down, then you run into this problem when a gaffe like that occurs. And may I just add that, you know, when Nancy Pelosi became the first female Speaker of the House, a big part of the biography was this woman stayed home with her children until the youngest of 5 was in high school, and then she started her career. She did exactly what Ann Romney did. The Democrats held that up for Nancy Pelosi as some badge of biographical honor, and they put down Ann Romney. It makes no sense.
You make a passionate case there for your side, but I'll go to Margie first on this. If Kellyanne is right, and I know you probably think she's wrong on some of it, but if there is this opening and if the Republicans can engage on the issues, why is it that at the moment it's Mitt Romney, not Ann Romney, on the ballot, and in the ABC Washington Post poll among women, Obama gets 57%, Romney gets 38%. What is the biggest source of the Democratic advantage in the gender gap right now?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, the first thing is that Mitt Romney has a difficult time connecting with women voters and voters generally. His own staff doesn't know where he stands on gender pay equity. It's not just about birth control and reproduction. It's also about Violence Against Women Act. Mitt Romney said he wasn't even familiar with that bill. I mean, there's a whole host of things. And it's not Democrats who've been making this an issue. It's Republicans who, in Congress, who had a panel talking about restricting access to birth control, had only men, refused to have women speak. It's Republicans who, in their presidential debate, have been fighting over whether or not birth control is okay or not, even though 99% of women use it. So it's Republicans who have made this an issue. And that's why you see this huge gender gap benefiting the president. He is focusing on things like jobs. And Kellyanne's absolutely right. All these other issues are important, but Republicans aren't there. Democrats are.
Kellyanne, you're on Team Newt at the moment, but if Governor Romney were to see you and say, help me on the specific issue of the gender gap, what would you tell him?
I will help the Republican nominee, and I'll make another point, John. This is what I would tell the Republican nominee. Barack Obama did a remarkable thing in 2008. He got 56% of the female vote. That is such a high number, you know, for a non-incumbent president. President Reagan, President Clinton, President George W. Bush, all re-elected incumbents overperformed their first take among women by 7 or 8 points in the re-election. So by that standard, Obama would need like 50, if he need like 63, 64% of women. He's not going to get that. And so his gender gap is also among men, which nobody ever wants to discuss. Men have really abandoned him, particularly white men, over the economy. He really needs to make up those gains against women. You saw a really bad week for the White House with women this week, John, when it was revealed that in a nonpartisan study, women in the White House make on average 18% less than men there. So how, with a straight face, do the Democrats then come out and say, we're the ones for pay equity, we're the ones for fairness to women? Let's look at what women are telling people they care about and match that. And look, the gender gap exists for several reasons. Women tend to be a little bit more Democratic and men tend to be a little bit more Republican. But women are also very pro-incumbent. So this president, just like George W. Bush, just like Ronald Reagan, just like Bill Clinton, has institutional advantages. Women don't like to rock the boat politically or otherwise unless they're given a reason. It's up to the Republican nominee to provide that reason, to tell them that you don't have to fear changing leadership at the top because things are that bad. Fuel prices are double what they were when he started.
Conversation we will continue for 200 days, I'm sure. We'll have you both back. Margie Omero, Kellyanne Conway, appreciate your time tonight. Up next, you don't want to miss this. Newark's mayor describes what happened when he